Hi, so we've got another video here looking at how to deconstruct functional skills maths questions, and we've got Pearson Edexcel paper from March 2018, level 2, and let's start off by looking at question 2. So with these old papers, there's still lots of questions which are still really relevant, so I'm just picking out the main ones. So question 2 we've got here. Bradley wants to buy a bike to help with his training. He sees these two offers for the same make of bike. So we've got the first one at Best Bikes, got a normal price of £499. Now 1/8 off the normal price. And at Top Cycles, we've got a normal price of £369.59 plus VAT at 20%. So this means there's an additional 20% on top of this price. Bradley wants to pay the least amount of money possible for the bike. Which offer should he choose? Show why you think this. Right. Okay, so let's move this up here so that we can have a look at these two deals. Right, so I'm going to look at the different steps we're going to need to do for this question. We've got 4 marks, so we know we're going to have 4 steps. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what are we going to have to do? Well, we've got 2 different deals, but if we start with the first one, well, we're going to want to know what this price is once you've taken 1/8 off. So what we could do is work out 1/8 of the price and then take it off the original. But if you think, well, if we're taking 1/8 off, that means we're going to be left with 7/8. So the first step we need to do is going to be work out 7/8 of £499, because that's going to give us the price or the deal for Best Bikes. Now, we'll work this out afterwards. I just want to lay out all of my steps first. If we think of Top Cycles, we've got the normal price here. We need to add on our 20%. So what I'm going to do with this one is we'll have to work out what the 20% of this amount is first of all. So we will be working out 20% of £369.59. Now once we've got the 20% from this, we're going to need to add the 20% to the original amount. So once we've done this step, we'll also have the deal price for Top Cycles. So that means the last step will be compare the 2 final prices. So, I should say compare them and make your decision. So which offer he should choose. Right, so let's start off with this one. So we want 7/8 of 499. So that is the same as 7 divided by 8 times 499, which is... Turn this one on, so we've got 7 divided by 8, I'll do equals, multiply that by 499, and we get 436 it's pounds, so we only want 2 decimal places because we've got pounds and pence. So 62, so we look at the 3rd digit after the decimal point. If it's 5 or more, we need to round up, so it's going to be 63p, so we're rounding the 2 up by 1 because of the 5. Okay. Then the second step, we said work out 20% of 369.59. So if we're doing 20%, we're going to do 20 out of 100, and then we'll multiply that by 369.59. Now, you might already know that 20% as a decimal is 0.2. and you can go straight for that. But if you didn't know that, then you do your 20 divided by 100 to get here. Then we multiply this by 369.59, and that gives us 73 point. Now again, because it's money, we only want 2 decimal places, 91, but because this is 5 or more, we need to increase the 1 to a 2, so 73.92. Then we said add the 20% to the original amount. Okay, so our original amount was 369.59, so now we're adding the 20% on, and we get £73.92, which gives a total of, so let's show us what we're doing. We did a 369.59, we added on 73.92, and that gives us 443.51. So we've got, this was the deal for best bikes, and this was a deal for top cycles. Compare the two. Well, £436.63 is less than £443.51. So, who should we go with? Well, the cheapest one, best bikes. I'll put should be chosen. Okay, so the next question we're going to have a look at from this paper is question 4. So we've got Matt and Julia find a 2-bedroom house to rent. Matt will have the bigger room. They have this information about the costs they need to pay between them before they can move in. So we've got rent for 1 month, then we've got the administration fee, which is 0.7 times the monthly rent. Then we've got a deposit of 1.25 times the monthly rent. And we're told Matt and Julia will split the total of these costs in the ratio 3 to 2. So in other words, every time Matt pays £3, Julia will pay £2. How much does Matt have to pay before they move in? Right, 6-mark question here. So we've got a lot of work to do. So let's think about our steps. Well, let's write down our numbers again. And let's see if we can work out what the 6 steps might be. Well, we know what the rent is. We need to work out what the administration fee is. And in fact, I'm going to show what the calculation is. So this is going to be 0.7 times the monthly rent, which is 895. Okay, that's what we need to do for the first step. We'll do the calculation afterwards. The second step, well, if we know what the fee is, we then need to work out the deposit. So, work out deposit. Well, we're told that that's 1.25 times the monthly rent. Okay. Once we know what these two are, we can then work out what the total amount is. So work out total costs. Well, that's going to be whatever we get here, plus whatever we get here, plus the original rent for 1 month. So we don't know what these answers are yet, so I won't do the calculation. So then the fourth step, well, once we know the total amount, we've got to split it in this ratio. So I suppose what we can do is if you were looking at the mark scheme, they'd say start working with ratio. So maybe what I do when I start working with ratio is draw a ratio table. And by that, what I mean is I'm going to have something like this, which is going to have Matt, Julia, and a total column. Okay. The fifth step, well, that's going to be complete the ratio table. So it'll be start to put the numbers in. So I suppose the first thing we'd do is, well, we know the ratio is 3:2. So we can put 3:2 for Matt and Julia. And if it's 3 and 2, we know that the total for that line is going to be 5. Now, we can't do the rest of the table until we know what these numbers are, but at least we've got a starting point. And the sixth step is going to be, well, I suppose we can say extract the answer from the table. In other words, pull off the number that they want, which is how much Matt has to pay before they move in. So we've got it all planned out. Let's start off doing some calculations. So we've got 0.7 times 895. So this is working out the admin fee. So we've got 626.5. Now this is money. So it's going to be 626.5. Well, if it's money, we're going to have to make it 50p. Now, then we've got the deposit. So we've got 1.25, or 1 1/4, times the monthly rent. And this is going to give us £1,118.75p. If we want the total costs, well, we know the total costs is the sum of these three things here. So we've got the admin fee, we've got the deposit. Let's write the monthly rent on top, 895. So what we're then trying to find is the total of all of these. So I've already got the 1,118.75 in my calculator, so we can add on the £626.50 and add on the monthly rent of £895. So we've got total costs of £2,640 and 25p. So now we're working with our table. Well, we've already drawn our ratio table. We need to complete it. Well, this is the total, so we can put it in the total column. Now, when we're working with a ratio table, what we're trying to say is to get from any number in this row to the number in the bottom row, which is what we're trying to calculate, you multiply by the same number. We just need to find out what that number is. So we've got two numbers here in the same column. So we're saying, how do we get from 5 to 2640.25 by multiplying? Well, to work it out, we do the opposite. And the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we divide this by 5. And that means that we're multiplying by 528.05. So I'm going to write that up here so we can see what we did. So we did 2,640.25 and we divided that by 5 to give us that number there. So if we're multiplying by £528.05 to get from, well, it's not pounds and pence, it's just a number, but we're multiplying by 528.05 to get from here to here, we're going to need to do the same with all of these numbers. Okay, so this is going to be times 528.05, and this is going to be the same again, times 528.05. So I'll put this number in my memory, make it nice and easy. So for the first one, we need 3 times memory recall, which is £1,584.15. And that's the answer they want us to work out, but I'm going to complete the whole table. So I'm going to say, well, for Julia, we want our memory recall again, and we're just going to multiply that by 2. And we get 1,056.1, and because it's money, we'll make that 10p. Now, if I want to just check that I've done these calculations correctly, I can say, well, if I add Julia's amount to Matt's amount, it should give me this number here, which it does. Right, so I've done the table, I've worked everything out, extract the answer from the table. So how much does Matt have to pay? Matt has to pay £1,584.15. Okay, so the last question we're going to look at from this paper is an area question. And this one is question 6. Ellie is the manager of a limousine hire company. This is a plan of the driveway. Okay, slightly strange shaped driveway, bit of an angle here. And we've got the measurements on these sides, not on this one, but on the others we have. Ellie wants to cover the driveway with paving stones. The paving stones can be cut to fit the space. Ellie will buy the paving stones in packs. Each pack covers an area of 4.51 metres squared. What is the least number of packs of paving stones Ellie needs to buy? And if we shift that up, we can see we've got 5 marks. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps for our 5 marks. Well, if we're trying to work out area, I don't really know what this shape is, or not an easy way to work out the area of it in one go. So what I'm going to need to do is split it up into shapes I can work out. So we can say split, it's a drive, into, and I'm going to say manageable shapes. In other words, shapes that we know how to work out. Okay. Once I've done that, well then I'm going to calculate the area of the shapes. Okay. Well, if I know the area of the individual shapes, then I need to calculate the total area, and I'm going to do that by adding the individual shapes together. So that will give me the total area, and if we know that each pack covers an area of 4.51, we can use this to work out number of packs needed. Okay. Now, because I'm just going to be dividing, chances are it's not going to give me a nice tidy number. I'll probably have some decimals in there. But we can only buy paving stones in complete packs. You can't go in and buy 0.3 of a pack or something. So we're probably going to have to round up to nearest whole number. We might not. It might come out with a perfect number, but or perfect integer. But I think we'll probably have to do some rounding. Right. So we planned out the question. First step we have to do is split the drive into manageable shapes. Right. So how are we going to split this up? Well, we could. I suppose getting a rectangle would be nice. So we could have a rectangle down here, or I'm going to do a rectangle this way. Okay, so we've got a rectangle up here. We've then got a shape down here. Now, some people might want to split this up again, so we get another rectangle and a triangle. But actually, if we look at this, well, what shape is this? We've got 2 parallel sides. It's 1, 2, 3, 4-sided shape. So this is a trapezium. Okay, so we know a formula for working out the area of a trapezium. So we're just going to leave it as 2 shapes. So let's start with the easy one. Area of a rectangle is the length times the width. The length is this 8.2 and the width is here. Well, look, the 6.5 is the full length down here. We don't want that. We want just here to here. So 3.1. So if we work this one out, and we can use the calculator, 8.2 times 3.1, we get 25.42, and that's going to be meters squared. Now, for the trapezium, area of trapezium, now you might remember this. Now it's A plus B divided by 2 times H. So if we do a quick sketch up here of our trapezium, A is the length of one of the parallel sides, B is the length of the other, and H is the height of the trapezium, or the distance between the two parallel sides. So A in this one is going to be the 8.2, B is going to be 4.3, then we're going to need to divide all of that by 2, so I'm going to put brackets around this because we need to do that first. Then you can even put brackets around this to show we do the division. And then we're going to multiply by the height, which is, well, it's this distance here. We don't know what this is. We know the full distance here is 6.5, and the top bit is 3.1. So we actually want 6.5 minus 3.1, which will give us the missing gap down here. So 6.5 minus 3.1, and that gives us 3.4 meters. So that's what we're going to multiply that by. Right, so let's put this all in the calculator. So we need to do 8.2 plus 4.3, get the total of that. Then we need to divide that by 2. Because what we're doing with the trapezium, when we add these together and divide by 2, it's like we're finding the average length. So it's almost like we're sort of chopping. If you imagine we've got a rectangle here, we've got a sort of triangle bit sticking out. We're chopping the triangle so we can slot that in there to make it into a rectangle. Okay, don't worry if it doesn't make sense, you can just apply the formula. But that might help to visualize it. You're trying to, the formula turns the trapezium into a different shaped rectangle. So we've added them together, we've divided by 2, now we're going to multiply by the height, which was our 3.4, and we get 21.25 meters squared for the total, for the area of the trapezium. So that means that the total area is 25.42 plus 21.25, which is, we've got the 21.25 in the calculator, so add on the 25.42 and we get 46.67 meters squared. So we've worked out the total area. Okay, so 3 steps done. Work out the number of packs needed. Well, if this is our total area and each pack covers 4.51 meters squared, we need 46.67 divided by 4.51. So I've got that answer in my calculator already. I can just divide that by 4.51, which gives me 10.348 blah 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 packs. And as we said before, you can't go in a shop and say, oh, I want to buy 10.348 packs. They'll say, well, what do you want? Do you want 10 packs or 11 packs? Well, 10 packs won't be enough. So we're going to have to go up to the next whole number, which is 11. And that's our final answer. So I hope you're finding these deconstructing question videos useful. Let's say they're with questions from older papers, but these questions could still come up. They're absolutely relevant. Really good to work on these because it's so easy to kind of miss out a step and then lose your way and miss out lots of marks. So really good to think these questions through. So hope you liked the video. Do subscribe to the channel, put any comments, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you.